Chapter 2, Lesson 3, Write Two-Step Equations. You will be able to write two-step equations that represent real-world situations. You know how to write verbal sentences as one-step equations. Some verbal sentences translate into two-step equations. There are 3 steps to writing a two-step equation. Words is your first step. Describe the situation. Use only the most important words. This is really important when you're dealing with longer word problems. Variable. Define a variable to represent the unknown quantity. So think to yourself, what are you finding? And then write a let statement. Equation. Translate your verbal model into an algebraic equation. Translate each sentence into an equation. 8 less than 3 times a number is negative 23. First of all, those are your words. Okay, your words are right there. We don't have to rewrite them. We then need to define a variable. We'll just use x. Let x equal. And what we're finding here is a number. So let x equal a number. That's step 2. Now step 3 is to now translate that into an algebraic sentence or an equation. 8 less than 3 times a number. Well, I know that 3 times a number is 3 times x. I also know that the word is means equals. So this last part, 3 times a number is negative 23, is 3x equals negative 23. However, the first part, 8 less than that, okay? Less than implies subtraction, but less than means I take the 8 and the 3x and switch them. If I were to say that you are 15 years less than my age, you wouldn't take 15 minus my age, you would take my age minus 15. So you actually have to flip-flop them. So our final sentence would be 3x minus 8 equals negative 23. It doesn't say to solve it, so we are done. Letter B. 13 is 7 more than 1/5 a number. Let's define our variable. Let x equal, we're searching for a number. So 13 is implies 13 equals 7 more than 1/5 of a number. But just like the words less than, more than also means to flip-flop. So 13 equals, just take these two terms and switch them. 1/5 x plus 7. If I were to say I'm 15 years more than you, you would take your age and add 15. You wouldn't necessarily take 15 plus your age. You can with addition. The order doesn't generally matter, but it's good practice to stick with the same train of thought. Where it matters is your subtraction, because 8 minus 3x is totally different from 3x minus 8. Letter C. 15 equals 3 more than 6 times a number. Our let statement, let x equal a number. So 15 equals, that part's easy, 15 equals 3 more than 6 times a number. So right then I know I have to flip these around. So 6 times a number, more than means addition, and 3. So 15 equals 3 more than 6 times a number? Letter D. 10 increased by the quotient of a number in 6 is 5. Let x equal a number. 10 increased by means add. The quotient is the answer problem to an answer to a division problem. So we have division. The quotient of a number and 6. It just means x over 6. Start in your numerator. Is 5. The difference between 12 and 2/3 of a number is 18. Let x equal a number. The difference means subtraction. So 12 minus 2/3 of a number is just 2/3 x, is or equals 18. Letter F. 7 less than 1/4 of a number is -1. Let x equal a number. Here we have those words less than again, which means I'm flip-flopping these. So I'm going to start with the 1/4 of a number. 1/4 of a number means to multiply by your number minus 7 is -1. So this is 7 less than 1/4 times a number equals -1. Now let's write and then solve our two-step equations. And here's where the words will really make a difference. You buy 3 books that each cost the same amount and a magazine, all for $55.99. You know that the magazine costs $1.99. How much does each book cost? Let's start with a variable. We want to know the cost of one book, so let x equal cost of one book. Now, we need to write this in words that are a little bit more simpler. Okay, we know we're buying 3 books and a magazine. Make this a little smaller. Total $55.99. Okay, and I'm actually going to adjust this. 3 books and a magazine that costs $1.99 totals $55.99. Okay, we don't know how much the books cost. So here, I would say 3 times the cost of a book plus the magazine equals $55.99. But on this part, we're actually going to solve. So we solve our two-step equation. Subtract $1.99 from both sides. $3x equals $54. Divide by 3. X equals 3 goes into 5 once. $18. So the question asks, how much does each book cost? We would finish it with saying, each book costs $18. And that's our answer. Letter B. A personal trainer buys a weight bench for $500 and W weights for $24.99 each. The total cost of the purchase is $849.86. How many weights were purchased? This time they give us a variable. They tell us to use W, so we don't have to write a let statement. When it tells you a variable, you can skip this step. But let's summarize what we have here. So we have a bench for $500. Oops. There's a bench for $500 and weights for $24.99. That total $849.86. Okay. We don't know how many weights. So we have our equation of $500 bench plus $24.99 times W weights equals, and our total price is $849.86. I'm just going to move that over. And now we solve. We're going to subtract 500 from both sides. We get 24.99 W equals 349.86. And then we're going to divide by 24.99 on both sides. And this one we're using a calculator for. Just double check my math. 849.86. We subtracted 500. So far, so good. Now we need to divide by 24.99. And we get a nice number of 14. The question asks how many weights were purchased. We would answer with 14 weights were purchased. Letter C. The current temperature is 54 degrees. It is expected to rise 2.5 degrees Fahrenheit each hour. In how many hours will the temperature be 84 degrees Fahrenheit? So here we are finding the number of hours. So let X equal number of hours. Okay. So the current temperature is $54, or 54 degrees, sorry, 54 degrees. So it's currently 54 degrees. It's expected to rise, so addition, 2.5 each hour. So 2.5 times the number of hours. And we expect this to be 84. If you do not need to rewrite like we did in A and B, I am perfectly fine with that. You can do that thought process in your head. But you definitely need the let statement and the equation. From here we solve. Minus 54. 2.5x equals 30. Divide by 2.5. So how many hours will the temperature be in how many hours would the temperature be 84 degrees? We would say 12 hours. Word problems deserve a word answer, so make sure you label it with some word or words. You and your friend's lunch cost $19. Your lunch costs $3 more than your friend's. How much was your friend's lunch? This one's a little tricky. You want to know your friend's lunch. So let X equal cost of friend's lunch. Now, let me break this one down a little bit differently. We have your friend, and we have you. Your friend, we don't know how much their lunch is. However, your lunch costs $3 more than your friend's. So I know that my lunch is $3 more than X. So if their lunch were $10, mine would be 10 plus 3. And the total is 19. So we have to take your friend and your lunch and add them together. Be careful. Your friend is X plus yours is X plus 3. And this equals $19. Here we can combine like terms. Remember, there's an invisible 1 in front of those variables. 1x plus 1x equals 2x. Bring down the rest of the equation. And now we have a simple two-step equation. Minus 3 from both sides. 2x equals 16. Divide by 2. X equals 8. The question is, how much is your friend's lunch? And I know my friend was simple X, so their lunch was $8. If I wanted to know my lunch price, I would take $8 and add 3 to get 11.